Retirement planning today can go one of two ways. It can be daunting and overwhelming, or it can be exciting and give you a newfound sense of adventure. Hi, my name is Eric Kearney, President and Senior Investment Advisor of Retirement Wealth. With planning for a long-term retirement today, with everyone's unique goals and objectives, you need a long-term written strategy that's going to be built custom for you. So with today's world, you've got market volatility, interest rate changes, inflationary issues, and world events going on all the time. So you want to make sure that you find someone that you can trust, who has a fiduciary responsibility, is an independent advisor that's always looking out for you. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's begin Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney.
You're watching Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney, Southwest Florida's retirement television. He's an author, a radio host, a fiduciary, and Southwest Florida's premier investment advisor. Here is Senior Investment Advisor Eric Kearney.
We're back at the club at Renaissance. We want to thank them so much for allowing us to come back and film another episode of Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. It's beautiful here, isn't it, Eric?
It's gorgeous.
You know, Eric, on this next segment, we're going to discuss how to build a better portfolio. And that's something that you're very different from with other advisors. You and your team sit down with people and help them build a better portfolio.
Yeah, Wendy, there's a lot of people who don't realize how many moving parts actually go into building a sound investment strategy. And so I'm really glad that you're bringing this up today.
And when we talk about all those moving parts, we've got 10 that we're going to discuss with our viewers today. And the first one is how to plan for a tax-free income. How do you and your team help your clients do that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people that come to us and they've been high income earners for quite some time. The biggest thing is that they say, Eric, my tax situation is getting out of hand. And so by the time they come into us, we realize that no one has ever introduced tax-free planning to them 10 or 15 years ago. So what we have to be able to do is we have to take a look at this and start to forecast what your tax situation is going to be down the road. And again, there's a lot of firms out there that are either incapable of doing that or they just don't know how to do that. They don't know how to make that introduction. They don't know how to properly implement that. And that's the one thing that really people are coming to us for. So creating that tax-free income stream in retirement is critical for a lot of different reasons.
And Eric, when you're helping them create a tax-free income, you also want to help them limit their risks.
Right.
And you and Autumn and Donna are so good at that, and you're so personable and approachable. People just enjoy coming in and just sitting down and talking with you.
Yeah, and we enjoy seeing them. So limiting your risks in your portfolio, you've got the volatility, you have an election year, you've got the so-called recession that's coming. We don't ever know when that's going to happen. There's always a lot of events that are going to occur either in the past, right now, and also in the future. So every single time we have to know how we're actually limiting the risks in your portfolio and how do we actually do that? Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of people who cannot afford another 2008. You want to understand, Eric, how are you actually limiting my risks in my portfolio? And we want full transparency of how we're actually completing that.
Well, Eric, you've got to limit risks, and how do you help them minimize taxes into retirement? Because as you know, and we all know, a lot of times you're putting money in, and it's pre-taxed when you're working. Right. So you get to retirement, and those taxes are going to start coming out. So how do you help them minimize that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people who can't afford a tax-free income stream, and that's fine, but we still have to find ways to minimize those taxes. So we sometimes take a look at the use of municipal bonds, we take a look at Roth conversions, and also through harvest taxing, I can say it, tax loss harvesting. It's much easier said than done.
It's autumn, harvest season.
Yeah, that's for sure. So a lot of times we want to go into that portfolio and say, okay, how can we actually take a look at how to minimize your taxes? And this is something that we do on a quarterly basis.
Okay. Lowering fees as well. That's really important to people because a lot of advisors, they charge high fees with a lot of these things. So how do you help your clients with that?
There's a lot of people that don't understand what fees are inside their portfolio. What we're doing is we're actually importing their current portfolio. We're taking a look at fees, risk, volatility, standard deviation. How diversified is that portfolio? But what it's really pointing out is how expensive is your portfolio and are you actually getting value for it? So we took on a gentleman last summer who had been in one mutual fund with $550,000 in it and was paying 1.85%. That's an insanely high number, and the performance on it was pretty horrific. So by the time we got him out of that, again, it was fully transparent of what we did with him, why we did that for him, and he's much better off in retirement now.
So when you talk about that, it is really important to diversify your investment styles, and that's something that you are excellent at Retirement Wealth.
Right, creating a sound asset allocation. There's people that are coming to us. They're like, Eric, can you please help me? And honestly, Wendy, when we hear that in their voice, I really listen to what they're saying. Please help me. Mm-hmm. They know that they have issues with their portfolio, but they're not able to pinpoint those. Typically, when there's issues with a portfolio, it's not just one or two issues. It's typically 3 or 4 major things that are wrong with that portfolio. And we go through, and again, it's all about transparency. We want to show them where they're coming from and then show them where they're going to. And they really appreciate that. And they also walk out with a true understanding of what they're actually invested in. So creating that sound asset allocation is very critical.
Well, Eric, those were the first 5 steps. So when we come back, please stay tuned because we're going to go over the next 5 steps to building a better portfolio.
What does your retirement look like? Is it filled with travel, spending time with family, or are you too worried to even think about your hopes and dreams? Eric and his team can answer your questions with a complimentary review of your retirement and income plan, and it all starts with getting to know you. Because every dream needs a plan. Call Eric today and schedule your visit. You only retire once, so let's get it right the first time.
We're back. In the first segment, we talked about 5 ways to build a better portfolio. So in this segment, we're going to talk about the last 5, Eric. And number 6 on the list is utilize index funds and ETFs. Mm-hmm. What is that?
So in the last segment, we talked about very expensive fees, very expensive retail funds. If you're still utilizing retail funds, that is kind of an outdated dinosaur portfolio. We're using a lot of index funds. We're using a lot of exchange traded funds. You can actually build a much more sophisticated and dynamic portfolio, and also with a lot less fees in that. That's what my clients are craving. They want a better built portfolio. And I'll tell you, when you start to utilize exchange traded funds over a retail mutual fund, your costs go way down. You can also build a much more diversified portfolio. So utilizing those is a great way to go.
And you also need to coordinate that approach for how you're going to get all these moving parts going in the right direction, Eric.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are coming in that were with products that were bought a la carte. So they maybe went to a bank, and then they went to this financial advisor, then they went to this financial advisor. They have accounts all over the place. That means that things are working against them. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that that entire portfolio is working together. We want it to be congruent. We want there to be an actual system there. So what we're doing is that we're actually coordinating the approach and putting a process together. And when our clients actually go through a process, they understand what they actually want to have happen, and we're making that happen on that plan. And in 15 and 20 years, they still know that they're going to be okay because there's always a concerted, coordinated approach to that.
In retirement, it's really important to potentially avoid losses. You've put this money away and you don't want to lose any of your principal.
Right.
How do you and your team help your clients with that?
Yeah, so again, you go back to 2008. I cannot afford danger to my portfolio. So what we're trying to do is really minimize the risk that's in that portfolio. And there's a lot of times where back in 2010 and 2011, we were doing portfolio recovery strategies for a lot of people. How can we get the portfolio back into play? We were very fortunate because in November of 2007, we started to move money into cash, not knowing what was going to come a year later. But there's a lot of people now who I ask them, what is your downside protection strategy? And they say, Eric, I don't have one. And that's unacceptable going into retirement because really you've got to make sure that you're protecting the principal of that money. And how are you actually doing that?
And in retirement, you've got to start withdrawing income because, as you said before, you're self-employed now. You've got to pay your own paycheck or make your own paycheck.
Right.
How do you help them withdraw from appreciated assets?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that we want to know is, Where are you withdrawing your money from? We always pull from appreciated assets, because what we want to do is when we pull out a monthly income, we want to have the market hopefully replenish that account. So we see a lot of people where they're pulling from depreciated assets. They're actually coming into us and saying, Eric, we're actually going through our principal. We have issues because we need this retirement income. So the biggest thing is, on top of inflation and taxes, oh, by the way, we also need growth, right? And so what we have to do is we've got to make sure that your risk tolerance is appropriate and that we're actually growing that portfolio and always pulling from appreciated assets only.
We're at number 10.
Oh.
This is a big one. How do you help people reduce market losses?
Right. So the biggest thing is that how do we prevent market loss? Well, by reducing your market exposure, what we're doing is that as we get older, our risk tolerance actually goes down. We do not want to take that risk. So what we're doing is systematically pulling money out of the stock market and reducing our stock market exposure. And so by reducing that risk, we're actually significantly lowering our standard deviation, which is just a big word for volatility and risk. And as we reduce that standard deviation, now it becomes more tolerable for us. So again, we want to make sure that we're building an age-appropriate portfolio for you that's going to complement your entire lifestyle.
Eric, thanks for being here today. I always learn so much when we sit down and talk.
Thank you, Wendy.
Eric has some educational courses coming up at some local colleges. How can we help our viewers figure out how they can attend some of those courses, Eric?
Yeah, great idea, Wendy. You can actually go to our website at erickearneyadvisor.com, sign up for those classes. The biggest thing is that there's really no products pushed. It's strictly education, and you're going to learn all about how to build a better portfolio.
And we'd love to sit down with you at Retirement Wealth. Give Eric and his team a call or visit our website. They'd love the opportunity to meet with you. Do you have questions about your retirement? Do you need a second opinion? Do you have a clear-cut income or financial plan? At Retirement Wealth Advisors, Eric Kearney and his dedicated team are committed to your financial success. As an independent fiduciary advisor, law and license require that they put your best interest first. Don't hesitate to plan for your retirement and financial future for one more minute. Visit our website or give Eric and his team a call at 1-800-779-1942. That's 1-800-779-1942. You'll get the second opinion that you need and the peace of mind that you deserve. You know, you only retire once. Let's get it right the first time. I'm here with Donna Crone, financial planner at Retirement Wealth. Donna, it's great to have you on the show.
Wendy, it's great to be here.
You know, Donna, Social Security is a big part of people's retirement plan. How do you help them navigate through all of the benefits that they might be entitled to?
Well, Wendy, the biggest question that I get as a financial planner is, when should I take Social Security? And there is no stock right answer for everyone. Rather, as a planner, there are 4 areas that I recommend that we look at to help you understand what your personal situation is. The first thing that we would want to look at is your need for income. In other words, how urgently do you need the income once you're eligible for your Social Security benefit? The second area that we would want to look at is earned income. If you are taking your Social Security benefit and continue to work until full retirement age, there is an earned income threshold, meaning that if you go over that earned income threshold, while you're working, it will reduce your Social Security benefit. Now, this only applies to earned income, so pensions, other government benefits, investments, as well as capital gains do not apply to this. Also, if you're self-employed, the calculation for the threshold is a little bit different. The next thing that we would want to look at is other benefits with Social Security you may be eligible for. And then lastly would be longevity. About 30% of Americans are living into their 90s now, so longevity is starting to play a big part in how we're going to optimize your Social Security benefits.
You mentioned other benefits that people might be entitled to. What might those be?
Well, for example, if you were married for 10 years or more, divorced, and haven't remarried, you may be eligible to collect under your former spouse's Social Security benefit without affecting theirs. Also, if you're a widow or widower, you may be entitled to Social Security benefits. Listen, the best advice I can give is to contact the Social Security Administration and get the information that's specific to your situation. Then come in, see me and Eric, sit down with a financial professional, or more importantly, a financial planner. We can help you figure out how your options play into your bigger financial plan.
Donna, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Wendy.
If you'd like to sit down with Donna or Eric and discuss your financial plan, please give us a call at 1-800-779-1942. They'd love the opportunity to sit down with you and discuss things. Please give us a call again at 1-800-779-1942. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
What do the wealthy do differently? Well, it's actually a mindset that they have. What they're able to do is, instead of looking at the next 6 months, they're looking at the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 15 years, the next 20 years. And what they want to know is, where am I going to be on an incremental basis? And so what we have to do is, when a wealthy person comes in, they're like, Eric, this is what we're trying to accomplish. We understand that this is not going to happen overnight, but the wealthy person also has the long game in mind. They know that this isn't going to happen quickly. It's not going to happen overnight. But how can I start to build a sustainable strategy so that I understand where I am? They're also worried about where their family is going to be. Maybe they're a philanthropist and they want to give money away. How am I going to be able to give that money away down the road? So again, understanding that we're coming up with a long-term plan is really what the wealthy do. They appreciate that long-term planning. They have the ability to forecast. So again, if you're interested in what the wealthy do, go to our website, get a few tips from us.
Eric, our favorite part again, questions from you, answers from us.
Right.
And if you'd like to see your questions answered on the air, visit our website and submit a question, and hopefully we'll get you on next time. Eric, let's get started with Wesley and Estero. Wesley says, I recently separated from a financial advisor who mostly invested in stocks and ETFs. I'm now poised to change those investments, and my current financial advisor has recommended a mutual fund with a 0.72% expense ratio. That essentially has a 60-40 stock bond allocation. Does this make sense? And is it true that there are hidden expenses in mutual funds?
So this is actually a question that we get asked on a regular basis. And we get calls from across the nation saying, Eric, I heard your radio show. Now I have questions. I'm leaving this current advisor and I want to go to this new advisor. Let's really pick this apart, Wendy. So you're leaving an advisor who is using exchange traded funds and stocks, which are very low cost. Now you're switching to someone that's putting you in a 60-40 portfolio with a 72 basis point cost. So the thing is that now they're going into a loaded mutual fund, and you're also going into a 60-40 split, which is actually pretty cliche. So everybody that goes into retirement, they're like, oh, Eric, 60-40 portfolio, that's where I need to be. That's not always appropriate for everyone. I mean, there's a lot of times where it's going to be a 50-50 split, maybe an 80-20 split. So the biggest thing is that a lot of times people are leaving their advisor because there's no actual process in place. I would recommend finding a couple of different advisors, maybe using this one, making sure that you have a full-blown comprehensive financial plan, a full income plan, and then all of a sudden your investments come last. The thing is that a lot of people are going into all these investment advisors and financial advisors, they're getting investment advice and really no financial plan or income plan. It should be the other way around.
And that's what you do best at Retirement Wealth, Eric, isn't it? You do that comprehensive financial plan and people know where they stand.
Yeah, basically what happens is by asking you a lot of questions, we're funneling down to what actual investments, products, and tools are appropriate for you instead of just putting you in tools and products and hope that that's going to happen.
Wesley, if you'd like more information, give Eric and his team a call. They'd love to sit down with you, get to meet you, and find out what your needs are. All right, let's go to Trish in Sanibel. Trish says, With a 2.5 million portfolio in mostly fixed income, is it necessary to have $200,000 in a variable annuity? The fees are very high, and the sales pitch rationale is that I have no pension otherwise. Is this true?
Well, it's certainly not going to create a pension for you. So what they're trying to do is solve a problem that you think that you have with a highly commissioned product. So if you have a large portfolio of $2.5 million, a $200,000 variable annuity is going to benefit them over you. So that is a completely inappropriate product. With a portfolio of $2 million, there are plenty of different ways not to just create income, but actually tax-free income. So really, by going into an expensive variable annuity, especially when you're in all fixed income, makes no sense. Because now what's going to happen is she is paying high fees, but she also has market exposure, and that's not what that type of client wants. So Trish, that would be a completely inappropriate product for sure.
Okay. Hope that helped, Trish. Now we're going to Madison and Cape Coral. Madison says, what's your general opinion of investing in real estate as a way to generate retirement income for myself down the road? I'm only 5 years away from retirement, but I have enough income that I could buy a couple of small properties and have them paid off before I retire if I set my mind to it. What's your take on that, Eric?
I love real estate. I've always liked real estate, okay? And I also believe that we have to include that in our overall portfolio. The biggest thing that we see though, Wendy, is when we do get older, guess what? We don't want that phone call at 2 a.m. saying, hey, my air conditioning broke, my hot water's bad, or I need a new roof in another 3 years. So there's a lot of people that are coming to us that have had a very large real estate portfolio that now as they get older, they want to travel and spend time with their families. Now they're actually looking to liquidate those properties. And now we have to create that phantom income that they had from all the rental income property. So while there are a lot of benefits to owning that, if you are close to retirement, you really want to understand, more importantly, your time horizon. How long can I actually own these before they absolutely drive me crazy, right? Yeah. And that's really what you have to pay attention to. So you can actually do a full financial plan, still including the real estate properties, and seeing how that's going to benefit you.
Good information. Okay, we're going to Jorge in Northport. He says, do you have any suggestions for ways to talk to children about money and investing? My grandson just turned 10, and I'm trying to figure out a way to teach him about money in ways that he can understand and apply. I thought about buying him some stocks that he might enjoy following, but I don't know if that's a good idea or not.
It's a fantastic idea. So with all my nieces and nephews, I ran out of ideas to get for their birthdays and Christmas and so forth. So now what we did was I opened them up a miner's account, and then I asked them, what individual stocks would you like to buy? And the interesting thing is that they've been saving up money to buy another stock. And so now what they're doing is every Friday, they're like, hey, Uncle Eric, how did our portfolio do, right? I'm like, well, let's go in and take a look at it together. So they're really learning about how a dividend is paid, how a stock company grows, and they're also realizing that not all stocks go up all the time, and that if you have a truly diversified portfolio, you're by far beneficial having that over one single stock. So by teaching your children at a young age, it's kind of like teaching them to cook. You're actually teaching them a lifelong lesson, and I think that's critical.
Oh, very much so. You're a great uncle. Well, if you enjoyed our question and answer portion of the program today, please give us a call and send your questions in, because Eric would love to answer them on the air. Thanks for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, you're watching Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. I'm here with Valerie Minnelli, the newest member of our team at Retirement Wealth. Good to have you here, Valerie.
Thank you. Good to be here, Wendy.
Valerie's a Medicare specialist, and she's here to answer all of your questions about Medicare, the benefits that you can get, and how it all works when you enter into retirement. Valerie, the last time you were here, we talked about Medicare Advantage plans. So today, let's talk a little bit about Medicare supplement plans.
Okay. Medicare supplement actually has a monthly premium. The premium is based on the plan you choose, the coverage that you choose. It's based on your age, your gender, and if you're a smoker or a non-smoker. After that, there are no co-pays. The monthly premium pays for everything. And the other thing is you do not have to be in a specific network of doctors. You can choose any doctor you like, go to any specialist you like. You do not need a referral. In addition to that, you can also go to, say, another state. If you had a specialist that you used to go to when you lived somewhere else and you want to see that person, that doctor, you can do that. So that's the main benefit of the supplement insurance. The other thing that's important with it is, like from a budgetary standpoint, you can pay for the premium and you know exactly what it's going to cost you every month. With the Advantage plan, it's based on what happens to you, how many copays you have to pay, how many times you have to go to the doctor, all of those things. So that's the primary difference, and that's what it offers you.
Oh, okay. So do you find that most people choose, or do you have just a difference of things for people choosing one plan or the other?
That is where evaluating their financial condition, how they feel about money, how they feel about risk, that sort of thing. That's what really comes into play with who chooses which plan. It's not a cookie cutter thing. It's not even something where wealthy people do this and less wealthy people do that. It's more of an emotional thing, and again, how you feel about your health and how healthy you are, that sort of thing.
So I'm sure you have to sit down with each individual person when you say it's not cookie cutter and explain the benefits of each of the plans and then make an informed decision.
Correct. And that's the key thing, to make an informed decision and feel very comfortable about the choice you make.
Okay. Valerie, great having you with us today.
Thank you, Wendy.
And if you've been listening today and like anything that you've heard and would like to sit down with Valerie and discuss some of your Medicare options, Medicare Advantage versus Medicare supplements, then give our office a call at 1-800-779-1942. That's 1-800-779-1942. Strive for excellence. Your health deserves it.
What does your retirement look like? Is it filled with travel, spending time with family, uninterrupted rounds at the golf course? Or are you too worried to even think about your hopes and dreams?
Questions about your retirement are normal, so come into our office, sit down with us, and let us help you find those answers.
Eric and his team can answer your questions with a complimentary review of your retirement and income plan, and it all starts with getting to know you.
We specialize in helping people just like you prepare for the retirement that they've always dreamed of.
They'll do exactly that by going over your current strategy to expose the weaknesses that may exist in your retirement portfolio. Plus, they'll explain potential risks and possible strategies to you in easy-to-understand terms and help get you reacquainted with your portfolio and income strategy.
What I enjoy most about retirement planning is sitting down with you and having real conversations about your retirement dreams and goals.
Once they understand your retirement goals, objectives, and dreams, they'll work to custom build a retirement plan to help ensure that you cannot outlive your income in retirement.
Retirement doesn't have to be scary. Let us help you retire confidently.
Because every dream needs a plan. Call Eric today and schedule your visit. You only retire once, so let's get it right the first time.
Thank you so much for watching today. If you've seen anything that you liked, or you have any questions, or you want to get your very own M5 formula, please visit our website or give us a call today. We'd love to start a conversation.
You know, you only retire once. Let's get it right the first time. Have a great day and an even better retirement.